Greetings, brothers and sisters. Let's start here with Britney J. Spears. I got something on Madonna J. Madame Expiration date and her birthday, Kanye stuff, and Bob Saget, and a bunch of things today. Um, but first, there's this.
It was such a crazy morning. I woke up and I remembered it. The name. Krispy Kreme donuts.
Did you say go nuts and that you already had some?
Holy shit, I immediately ordered. I got chocolate and glaze. It arrived. Someone came to my door. Knock. They opened the door. They brought it to me from the microwave. Hot.
My dogs are reacting to her knocking. That was Brittany. That was crazy Brittany, your dogs. Don't, right?
Juicy. Salty. Yet sweet.
You're eating salty donuts? I think you got a pretzel. I think what you're eating there is a pretzel, Brittany.
And I couldn't believe it was chocolate milk
Potty mouth, potty mouth.
with it. And I had the most beautiful, exquisite morning of my life.
ASRM queen. I spelled it wrong. Donut knocking on my door. No idea what I just listened to, but I'm obviously obsessed. This is art. I love you, Brittany. See how easy it is to please people on the internet? These Britney fans. I mean, she's crazy as a house rat, right? And they're just falling all over her. Then I saw her post this. So this is some TikTok video where the person is saying the F word quite a bit. And some kind of weird dance. And Britney reposted it and said what she said, which is the F word. Because, Britney's still a teenager, right? Like, that's why her teenage sons don't like her, because they're both at the same emotional and psychological development age. See, this must be where Britney gets her inspiration for her dancing, right? These kind of TikTok channels, right? So all her young fans understand why she like doing what she's doing, because this is what they're used to and they're watching, right? So they, and she's yelling the F word throughout this dance. Then she has this obsession with reflecting back, Portrait of a Lady, part 2. This whole thing, she sent this picture as a way to defend herself and how she should be treated by her ex-husband and their kids. See, the thing is, she's crazy. And the reason that you can tell she's crazy is she says she wants to have a relationship with her kids. And they said her dancing naked and doing weird stuff on Instagram is the problem. And she keeps on doing it, right? Like, this is her form of expression, and she doesn't need to. And probably shouldn't, because it just gets crazier and crazier, right? All this dancing and stuff she does, all of it, right? And so she just doesn't get the message. And after the conservatorship, she's demonstrating all the reasons why the conservatorship was in place in the first place. It's like, after you free Britney, this is what you get. And it isn't pretty. So Madame Expiration date, for a person that's avoiding her age more than anybody we've ever known, right? She is really into her birthday. Like she bought herself a new grill. This thing right here, this is her birthday grill, right?
A surrealistic party where nothing is logical, often just
So her and Brittany are both doing English accents. And she does some sort of, I don't know what's going on here, but it's looks like some sort of eyes wide shut party. Big giant foot. You have to have a big giant foot on your birthday. And then that kind of dance and whatever's going on there. And that dude. Like, you gotta have that dude and your birthday and that dude and that dude. You just have to, all of it. The cross, the top hat, the hugs, and just everything. You gotta do that. Mana's gotta do that. They gotta do this. She's got to do this. She's got to do her old lady dancing. Right? And then she got to do that with her teeth and her feet. She's got to get drunk. And she's got to wear a hat like that. And that's how Madonna rolls on her birthday. And this has always been one of Madonna's biggest, or Madame Expiration Date's biggest sort of faults and pitfalls. Is she's so superficial and so fake. They're trying so hard to be different. They're trying so hard to be like Vanguard or whatever, whatever words you want to use. And it's all just pretend. Like they're all, pretending to be different and outrageous and, doing things normal people don't do and dressing up in a weird way. And it's all fake. It's not coming from an organic place. They're only doing this because they want to show you how cool and different they are. And they're not, because it's all fake, right? It's all pretend. So I should have started here. Madonna passionately kisses two women on her 64th birthday in Italy. And there it is. The kisses. And that one too. A lot of tongue involved. This one a little bit more tongue here. So this was, I should have started here. Let's go back to her Insta goal. Sicilian Queens. I thought it said silicon. I'm part Sicilian as well. She went to Sicily for her birthday. And what's that? Those are the two girls she was making out with. That one's wearing Mickey Mouse ears. Good times. There's that. There's those. There's the Illuminati Eye. It's the fam. Just all of it. This is Madame Expiration Date at her best or worst. She just needs so much attention, right?
It's my birthday week.
It's her birthday. Okay, so this is her in Sicily. She's going, she's playing around. It's her birthday. Everyone knows. Wish her a happy birthday. She's in the car with those wonderful. Well, that guy's there. Her hat. She's got her hat. There she goes. Couple kisses. She had to do that. Good. Put the hat back on. This is her Sicily birthday. This is how Madonna rolls. Sicilian clan. And then the same thing. She's in Sicily. There's then one of those guys. There she is walking. There she is.
To me.
She had to wish herself, sing herself a happy birthday. She's got to do some of that, clapping, do that, this thing here. So she really goes all out for her birthday, right? Birthdays are supposed to be, see if they show you that again. She even dyed her hair, her roots black there. She even did that for her birthday. And she's doing some of that, like those, that thing. But your birthday is supposed to be celebrated by other people, right? They're supposed to be happy that you're born. That's, the reason that there's birthday celebration, to celebrate how good it is that you're born and you're in somebody's life. And so you don't celebrate your own birthday because that's narcissistic. Plus somebody who's avoiding, look, Rosie O'Donnell chipped in, beautiful. You don't celebrate your own birthday because, especially for Madame Expiration Date, who doesn't want to get old and still thinks she's in her 20s or late teens. But she really goes all out for her own birthday. See, this is why Kanye is a genius. Kanye slammed for selling new Yeezy Gap collection trash bags. And so he's put his clothes in trash bags. And and it's a genius move on his part.
Do you understand some people have felt that putting clothes in bags is insensitive?
Because they're covering it on Fox and Friends and New York Post, right? This is expanding his customer base. It's free publicity.
Perhaps to homeless and other people.
Look, man, I'm an innovator, and I'm not here to sit up and apologize about my ideas.
Look, man, Kanye's great.
That's exactly what the media tries to do. Make us apologize for any idea that doesn't fall under exactly the way they want us to think.
He told me that we should not clown the creators, in his words, of the innovation.
So, I mean, he always finds ways to get to sell his stuff. Like he's a business genius in, various ways. And self-promoting and promoting his things through controversy, he's, really good at it, right? I mean, Madonna did it in a different way by acting out and doing things like that, where he does things in a creative, he always finds new ways for people to end up talking about him. He doesn't go to the same, use the same playbook, which Madonna just did outrageous things, shocking people. He just put his clothing line in burlap bags or whatever it is. It's not really trash bags. But, people are sending me this left and right. I've seen it all over the place. And so many people know that he has a new clothing line, and I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that, right? Multiple people sent me this, but one of them was from Australia and said, I mean, they know about this in Australia. I mean, he's getting global promotion, Fox and Friends, right? Surprising reasons why narcissists like conspiracy theories. Everybody likes conspiracy theories, right? It's in almost every TV show of, that's about a spies or crime or whatever, and movies and all this stuff. There are conspiracy theories everywhere, and they're real conspiracies. But the psychological people, the people who make up the diagnosis for the DSM-5, have long wanted to include conspiracy theory believing people as a pathology. The belief in conspiracy theories may be related to personality traits. Conspiracy theories are explanations that attribute the true cause of a major event to a secret and malevolent plots by powerful agents or groups. And, and let's be clear, there's no secrets. I mean, we don't have like an FBI and a CIA and an NSA and other agencies that you don't even know they exist because they're secret. And the government doesn't have things called top secret documents that they don't tell you. And every movie about like a natural disaster or a meteor hitting the earth or an alien invasion, the government doesn't come out and lie to you, right? In the movie. I mean, there's no such thing as secrets. There's no malevolent plots, and there's no powerful agents or groups. And so that's just crazy. Research shows that compared to the average person, narcissists are more likely to find conspiracy theories appealing. Paranoia, gullibility, need for dominance and uniqueness, and collective narcissism may explain why narcissists are drawn to conspiracy theories. Look, it's words like may, right? It's words like may or more likely. Like it's just that's not science, right? And so, they just want people to attribute being a conspiracy theorist as being crazy. The Big Short investor Michael Burry dumps stock portfolio after market crash warnings. He was the first guy who discovered the subprime loans and things, and he was the one who shorted the subprime markets. So he has a history of figuring things out before other people do. Jodie Sweetin shares how she felt Bob Saget's presence at her wedding day. I want to make like 8 or 9 different creepy jokes, but I won't. Jodie Sweetin felt her late Full House co-star Bob Saget's presence when she wed Markel Wasolinsky. I think this is her 4th or 5th husband. The actress said on E's Daily Tuesday that John Stamos was involved in the touching moment. It had to be a touching moment with John Stamos and Bob Saget. John was getting ready to leave the house, I guess, and his wife, Caitlin McHugh, looked at him and was like, "You can't wear that shirt. That shirt's not working. It doesn't look good." Sweden 40 explained. He's like, fine. So he goes up to the closet, grabs a black button-up shirt, gets in the car, and he's like, "Why is this shirt so big? Why is this shirt so big?" He realized it was one of the shirts that Saget's widow, Kelly Rizzo, had given him after the former America's Funniest Home Video host had died in January. So he wore Bob Saget's big, baggy, pervy shirt. It was this black button-up that Bob would always wear. Bob was there in this weird little way. Everything that Bob ever did was in a weird little way. Just a few more things to get to here. I got a Trump thing to get to. But did Alec Baldwin pull the trigger? This is Chris Cuomo Project, the free agent, and he's putting this out as a short video. Did Alec Baldwin pull the trigger? Question mark. We're not going to know because you suck as a journalist. I'll show you that again, but he's putting this out here like he's proud of it. Right? It's only got 1,400 views.
In an earlier interview, you said, I didn't pull the trigger. And there's all this stage direction about the hammer, which is obviously a part of a revolver that people can look up for themselves, but that you pulled it back as the scene was directed for you to do. You say you never pulled the trigger, but the gun went off.
Right.
You do the ABC interview, and it was kind of left there.
He's selling this. I showed you this 3 times. This is my 3rd time. It's mind-boggling that he's using this to brag because he's giving him so much leeway and he's giving him outs and he's not making him answer the question and he's explaining it to everyone for him. And if he wanted to have a viral video, he would get Alec to answer the question why he lied, right? Because he did pull the trigger and he lied on the ABC News show.
That will not make sense to people. If a bullet comes out of a gun, they say, well, then someone fired.
You're familiar, but this did not come from me. This came from the DA's office themselves. You're familiar with what fanning a gun is, if you heard.
It came from you, right? You said you didn't pull the trigger, and the DA supposedly tested the gun, but the FBI report is going to hold much more weight. And so you pulled the trigger, Alec.
Heard of that phrase, fanning a gun?
Yes, but explain
So
it.
if you pull the hammer back and you don't lock the hammer, if you pull the hammer back pretty far, in old Western movies, you'd see someone fan the hammer of the...
Yeah, they had their finger on the trigger. It said it in Wikipedia. I showed you this yesterday. But he's promoting this like Alec is actually answering the question, which he isn't. You weren't fanning the gun. You said you pulled out back the hammer and you let it go and it fired a round, and that's not what happened. It's impossible that happened, right?
The gun. The hammer didn't lock. You pulled it back to an extent where it would fire the bullet without you pulling the trigger, without you locking the hammer. The man who's the principal safety officer on the set of the film declared that the gun was safe when he handed it to me. The person who was the principal safety officer of the film
You mean the guy you hired?
declared in front of the entire assemblage,
Because you were producing?
this is a cold gun. Now, why did he say that?
Why did he say that, Alec? You tell us everything else. You're lost for words here? Are you throwing him under the bus?
If he didn't know, if he hadn't checked. The point is, all of us were told that everything was cool and you can relax and we're working with a gun that's safe to rehearse with.
So he's using this as a way to promote his channel, but he asked, that was not a question. I mean, as bad as journalism is now, Chris Cuomo took it to a new low with his friend and pal, Alec P. Baldwin. Not to be outdone, here is...
Well, look, I think,
dial tone Liz Cheney. Could you be more lifeless?
as we've talked about before, I won my primary by 73 percentage points 2 years ago.
Yeah, good job on that. How'd you win? Oh, yeah, your dad is a famous politician, probably the most famous man from Wyoming in the world.
The path to that same victory would have been very easy. It was clear how that path would go. But that path would have required that I accept, that I embrace, that I perpetuate the big lie.
The big lie. Isn't that a Democratic talking point? I did a montage. I wonder if I still have that montage. If I do, I'll put it here. If I don't, I had a montage. Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I put together a compilation of the big lie. And one of the wonderful things is that I was going to include my a segment from my book, The Choice, in which I describe how when you say a lie over and over again, when you say something, when the powers that be repeat the lie, and the people who run the planet are so ghoulish and have such little prana, such little, the pranahuti, the transmission, the heartfulness system I talk about. the divine energy, love, right? Creative force. And they're so bankrupt of this energy that they have to suck the energy off of everybody else. They really aren't good at creating. They can maintain something bad and they can destroy, but they really can't create because they're just bankrupt inside, right? They're ghouls. And so they have to use the creative force of the collective, right? And one of the ways they do that is they get everyone to repeat the lie over and over again. I've talked about some scaras in the past. And that powers the lie. It keeps the lie going. Because in one of the teachings of the heartfulness system, nature wants to restore everything to its pristine condition, its pure condition, the essence of your soul. And so when you lie, it immediately sets in a set of divine forces to expose the lie. And so the only way to keep the lie going is to repeat it over and over again. And I was going to include this, and then I came across a great segment where Joe Biden, Jojo Magoo, literally makes my case for me. That's at the end of the compilation. And then I'm going to include his my other compilation video I just made with him saying Trump over and over again, which is wonderful. And so I want to say I don't believe in Trump's story, or I'm not a Trumper, and I think Trump did a lot more damage that's still moving forward. They're using Trump as, demonizing him to push through all kinds of things. And during his presidency, they did the same thing. And Trump is, a part of it, whatever way he is. Like he's a part of this movement. And I said this before, in terms of Trump's claims of election fraud and his, the clowns of Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, they were a nightmare. But there was a sense of the election being rigged, right? Joe Biden was hidden. They used COVID to drive the economy down and to demonize Trump. The media was one-sided about Trump. Even Fox News bailed on him. Joe Biden, they protected him from himself, right? And his dementia and all these things. It certainly wasn't a fair race. And there was other things about it, the absentee ballots and stuff, all these things that were suspicious. But, none of that really matters because Trump was just as much as a puppet as any of these guys. You guys who think Trump's a savior, have to, rethink things because the evidence is there. Trump bailed on his own supporters. He's a narcissist and whatever. But in terms of them saying the big lie over and over again, there's these talking points. And when the media and the politicians use the same talking points, it's a nightmare. Like that's where you have fascism, where media and corporations and the celebrity culture all are saying the same things. Your civilization's in trouble, right? So you have, CNN that counted Trump's lies in gumballs, which was great, which always gives me a chuckle. But this is the big lie. It's the gigantic lie, the lie that's out of control. It's the big lie. And so let's get to it here.
Is a lie. But this lie, his big lie.
The big lie.
His own big lie.
The big lie. I doubt any of them are stupid enough to believe the big lie.
Of the big lie.
By the big lie. Deranged by the big lie.
Continue to perpetuate the big lie.
That big lie and the big lie. Because the big lie.
The big lie is.
The big lie.
This whole big lie election.
There is a new big lie making the rounds. And big lies, a big lie. These big liars
is the big lie.
The big lie is just that, a big lie.
President Trump told a big lie, one of the biggest ever told. This big lie is perpetrate and act upon the big lie that Donald Trump perpetrated the big lie. The face of provable lies. Lies that right now are
continuing. Big lie.
Trump's lies. Conspiracy theorists would rather travel across the country in service of the big lie.
Extraordinarily dangerous to spread the big lie.
Pose the big lie.
Standing against the big lie. Yeah, I said it.
We know that the big lie was cooked up.
You got the big lie.
About the function of the big lie.
Have been banned from sites like Facebook and Twitter, but his interviews with right-wing media where he continues to repeat the big lie.
They're part of the big lie. Goebbels and the great lie. You keep repeating the lie, repeating the lie. Big lie. People will know it's one thing for one man, one woman, to repeat the lie over and over and over again.
And then I'm just going to show you all the rest of the Trump references here. So that's number one.
It's not a Trump rally. I ran against Donald Trump. An acolyte of Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Because he wanted to hear Donald Trump? He doesn't want to talk about Trump anymore. Well, I do. More on Donald Trump and election integrity. He puts the word Trump, just leveled by Trump. Trump did the same thing. That's who Donald Trump is. Many of you were there. Some of you risked your lives. The anger, the rage. To Donald Trump, no. To Trump, to have swallowed former President Trump's versus Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only president. Donald Trump, I love this one. Trump to Donald Trump. He won't stand next to Donald Trump. He won't allow Donald Trump. He's willing to pledge his loyalty to Trump. Is there a problem with Trump? So vote. Vote early. Get 5 of your friends and family to vote.
Even if they're dead or they don't exist. Just to wrap this up, every time I turn on the news, whether it's CNN or MSNBC, not as much on Fox, obviously, but, Fox still sucks, and just in a different way. But on MSNBC and CNN, whatever they talk about January 6th or, anything to do with the election, Trump's election, they say the big lie over and over again. Like on each segment, these compilations are hard to do. And so, you have to go through multiple clips. But if I really spent like hours, days on it, I could put thousands of clips together, and many of them would be in the same like little segment, where not only the anchors are saying it, but the politicians and the guests and the experts and the pundits that are invited on are all using the same big lie talking point, repeating it over and over again. And so that's suspicious, right? And again, I'm not a Republican because they have their own, they both use these same tactics. But the Democrats and the liberals have gone like they're just unhinged, and it's crazy. I mean, look at this, it's just crazy. And the devil's horns are funny too.
That I accept, that I embrace, that I perpetuate the big lie.
But then at the end, she's asked a question about whether she's going to run for president.
Takes to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office. That's a decision that I'm going to make in the coming months, Savannah. I'm not going to make any announcements here this morning, but it is something that I'm thinking about, and I'll make a decision in the.
Yeah, don't think about it anymore. Like, you won't even poll at 1%. You're unlikable. The Democrats aren't going to vote for you, and the Republicans aren't going to vote for you. Right? You have no chance of ever becoming president, vice president. Your dad was a cancer on this country, and you are like a really unlikable person with like zero personality and just dark, lifeless energy. You're like a soul-sucking black hole from Wyoming or really Virginia, and you're not, like, why would you even run for president? You're going to disappear shortly, very soon, as soon as they close down those hearings. But on second thought, I'm editing, and I realize I have a really great slogan for her. So here's her slogan. Hey, it's Liz Cheney. I'm not lying here just like a dead fish. I'm running for president. It speaks for itself. Two more things to get to. Breaking. This is from NPR. CNN is canceling its Sunday media affairs show, Reliable Sources. Anti-conspiracy theorist show with Brian Stelter is departing the network. Brian Stelter is departing the network. Stella tells NPR. So he's done at CNN, and his show is done. Someone else sent me this. Breaking, CNN laid off the whole staff at Reliable Sources after canceling the show. So I want to come back to this. I got a whole bunch of things to say about this. Let's go to the other CNN piece.
Against the company, but not implicate anyone who has run the company in the past few years.
Well, I think the way he does it is simply to admit everything that the indictment says he did, because the company is basically liable based on his actions. To me, the big question here is, why did they enter into this deal, give him basically 3 months in prison, which is a cakewalk, rather than really press hard, try and get him convicted, get him a 10-year sentence, and really force him to testify against Donald Trump. I mean, it's not like this case isn't overwhelming. They've got a second set of books, and they've got all kinds of documents with Weisselberg's handwriting on it. So
It's pronounced Weaselberg, buddy. Weasel, as in weasel.
to me, that's the big question. Or did possibly Weisselberg provide other information to the DA about Trump and direct them to other evidence that may lead to an indictment? I mean, we don't know the answers to those questions.
I know the answer to the question. It's because you suck at your job, and CNN sucks. I can tell you the answer. I know the answer. Maybe many of my viewers know the answer. Why don't you? Why don't you know the answer? Why don't you know the answer, right? Why do you suck at your job so bad?
But the fact that he got such a sweet deal raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, it certainly does. Just a few months in prison instead of the up to 15 years that he could have faced. So hopefully we'll get some answers to those questions very soon.
You don't have to wait. I have them right now. I have them right now for CNN, you sinking like the frickin' Titanic network that you are. The answer is you can't put Trump in jail. The Democrats have nothing to run against and no momentum or any energy to push their agenda if they don't have Trump to rail against. And CNN would have no content if they removed Trump. Neither would MSNBC and most liberal-leaning news media and online publications, right? All these liberal and Democratic people desperately need Trump. They're not interesting themselves. Trump is interesting. Not that I like Trump or going to vote for him, but Trump is far more interesting and far more compelling. It's like the villain in a reality TV show that once the villain goes, the show kind of sucks, right? Like, you know, there's some villain on one of those dating shows or Survivor, and they keep the villain alive as, you know, on the show as long as possible. If it's a vote out type of situation, because the villain drives the plot. And in this case, the villain is Trump, and they have nothing without him. And so they'll flirt with sending him to jail. The same thing with Hillary Clinton. The Democrats don't love Hillary Clinton, but the Republicans really needed somebody to rail against. Right now they have JoJo Magoo and Kamala, and so the Republicans could always find somebody. But nobody's as good as Trump. No one's a better villain than Trump for their left. And so they can't lose him, right? So they're not going to send him to jail. It just isn't smart. It would be a win for the Republican Party, and the left would just completely implode because all the passion that they have isn't because the people are passionate about JoJo Magoo or Kamala. In fact, they're dispassionate about their candidates. The only passion they can generate is hatred towards Trump, anger and hatred. The left runs on anger and hatred. The right runs on fear. I talked about that before. Going back to Brian Stella. And so this guy had an anti-conspiracy theory show with this guy, Donnie O'Sullivan, the guy, the leprechaun. You know, I think he's fired too. And they had this other show called Reality Check. And they suck, the shows, obviously. It's on CNN. But they got no views. And they just carried it along because right now they're getting killed on the internet. And so think about the advantages that Brian Stella and CNN have. The network is everywhere. It's on cable, it's on YouTube TV, it's on DirecTV, it's on every major platform. It's in the airports. I mean, you can find CNN everywhere. It's a recognizable brand, and it's global, right? And with that, a little while ago, YouTube started to push in their algorithms what they call authoritative news, CNN, MSNBC, and to some extent Fox. And so they were given an advantage even on YouTube and social media. Plus, they have been able to suppress and get people deplatformed and individuals, people who are pushing so-called conspiracy theories. And they've had all this agenda behind them They went after the QBs and all these people and these crazy conspiracy theorists as they call them, and have tried to suppress all this stuff on social media. And with all of those advantages and the budgets, right, and the staff and the writers, they're getting their asses kicked by all independent voices on the internet, right? And so, it's just a complete, just getting dressed down after the debacle of that CNN Plus, and they've had the worst ratings. It's like less than 1 million people a day watch their crappy network, and Brian Stella was just carried all along, right? And so, how embarrassing for CNN. And this whole thing about this Psychology Today, which I began this video with, this idea that conspiracy theories, truth or stuff, is for narcissists. Well, then there are a lot of narcissists out there, right? Because they're certainly not watching CNN. And so, anyways, I got a great comment to get to here. Okay, there's an epic comment that was to my Alec J. Baldwin Hollywood Justice, the Donald, Melania, and Will and Jada Smith. So this is my first video about Alec Baldwin, the FBI stuff and whatever. I can't remember what's in it, but anyways, this person says, possible block coming. Are we playing Hollywood Squares? Well, there was a block, and not for the reason this person thinks. But I'm okay with that. It's from an honest question. What is this honest question that you speak of? You said it's going to be a mess, and it's okay. I like messes. So I said that I think about Alec Baldwin. I don't really fully remember the context. I thought maybe it was the court hearing or whatever. I don't know what it was about. Something to do with the thing getting messy. And I said, okay, it's okay. I like messes. And then the person says, do you post videos because your main goal is to share your heart's message, or to make money from this S-hole platform? I've heard you claim the former before, but you enjoy, AKA prefer chaos for views. Honest questions. And so the reason that you're blocked is these are all stupid questions, and questions you need to answer for yourself, right? I'm going to answer them because there's mocking to be had. But these are all questions that you could easily answer for yourself with the enormous amount of information I've given here. First of all, when somebody asks a question like, let me go back to it here. I lost it. When they ask a question, do you post videos because your main goal is to share your heart's message or make money from the S-hole platform? I've heard you claim the former before. Well, I haven't said that, right? I haven't said it's to share my heart's message. It's not, that's part of the process. The information coming through my heart, I guess, is one way I might have put that, but I didn't say my primary goal is here to share my heart's message. I would never say something like that. That's what you have inferred from things that I've said. But the first issue is this. If a person is going to ask me what my motivation is, or anybody, is your motivation to, do some higher natured, whatever it is, right? In this case, he said, share information from your heart's message, or share your heart's message, as opposed to making money off of YouTube. Everyone's going to say the first thing, right? Whatever their motivation is, the majority of people are going to say that it's there because they're just doing it because they love it or whatever it is. Nobody's going to say it's just about the money. Very few people will. Some people will, but those people are already saying that ahead of time. And so you're banned because you didn't need to bother me with this question. I'm glad you did because, again, I'm being able to, make this voiceover about it, and that makes me happy. But it was something you shouldn't bother me with because you could figure this out for yourself. I've already said before that this is a job, and I need to get compensated for it. I need to make money. If I'm not going to make money, I'm not doing this videos. I've said this numerous times, right? I've said this, I don't know how many times. This is a job. I'm not doing this as a hobby. I'm not doing this as some way to, like some on my spare time. To do this the way I do it, I need to be compensated. It's work. I'm creating something. It has value. There's an audience for it, a customer base. But first of all, if I was just doing this for money, then I wouldn't be a truther, right? It's a stupid frickin' statement. Like if I was just doing this to make YouTube money, then I would do it in some other way, right? I would find the best way to make money on YouTube, and I would do that. And I would be all about my merch, right? It took forever for me to get the merch out. So there's enough information for you to deduce that it isn't all about the money for me, because I'm a smart person with abilities. If I wanted to make money here on YouTube or some other way, I could find easier and better ways to do it. I could expand my audience here or do something else that's more profitable. I'm not that centered on money, right? I need to make money because it's a job, but it's not, that big a deal for me. Like anybody could see it. Anybody could see that I would be pitching my merch on every video. Like you have enough information. Again, I talk about these things all the time, what my motivation is and things. I express these things. But in that, I've said that this work is, my duty to God. It's what God's turned me into. And I have, gifts and abilities to make videos. I have, whatever, sense of humor and things and my spiritual knowledge and things like that, right? And so there's a lot of different things going on here, right? But all of those things were available information where you could ask this question. It's a challenging question. It's disrespectful in the sense of it's implying that I'm in it for the money, but fine. If you want to believe that, good. Believe it. I don't give a shit, right? Like, I don't care. You want to believe that I'm in it for the money, then believe it. Like, don't bother me with that. Then you make a decision whether you want to continue listening. Like, I don't care if you stay here or not. I've said this over and over again, which is another indication I'm not in it for the money, right? And I would make as much money as I can, but, I'm not a business person and, whatever. Like I should talk about my merch more and all these other things. I'm making less money right now for whatever reason to do with YouTube. I don't know. There's issues with that, right? And so I believe that I'm supposed to be making these videos. I feel like, this is a duty or service I do for God. These are, some of my motivations. But the motivation that I had for saying that I like messes to do with Alec Baldwin, because it's funny. Like it'll make my job easier. It gives me, things to cover and joke about. And it's a part of the apocalypse, which I've said I enjoy laughing at and I enjoy watching. It isn't about chaos. Again, I believe there's an order and a plan. I've said that before. And something breaking down and being destroyed, like our system, or whatever it is, right? These Hollywood celebrities' lives and brands or whatever, is a part of that. There's an order to it. So it isn't like in chaos, which all is information that you already had. All these things you could have figured out for yourself. Again, what I meant by that. I didn't mean, oh, wow, I'll make a lot of money. But certainly, it's something that will profit this channel. And that's a pressure I have. I have to make videos that are commercially successful. That are, that get enough views and bring in enough people so that the channel stays afloat. There's a financial pressure for me in this job, like any job. But again, it's not like I'm going to make $1 million from Alec Baldwin's, drama, right? It's, it'll be a little bit more profitable. And it's something that, if I've covered somebody before, I don't have to do a lot of research. I mean, it's just, the videos are easier to do. And so all this information this person had, they didn't need me to answer any of it. And it's just the purest, the holier than thou attitude. I can't stand that stuff. I mean, this is the real world. The world is ugly and it's nasty and the system is collapsing. And I've said over and over again, in terms of this being fixed by me or anybody else, it's not going to do that. I don't know what purpose my videos serve to other people, right? But I don't, I'm not conscious of that when I'm making it, right? I'm not conscious that I'm saying something that might help somebody or change their lives. It's not like it's a conversation. and I know what's going on with other people and how they're going to respond to it. Or some people, it's just hearing something that's funny and lightening their mood. So there's people who benefit from this, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know the purpose behind these videos. Certainly now with Heartfulness organizations sucking and me dealing with that and not being able to talk about it in the same way I used to and all of it, right? Like those of you who've watched my Journey series. And so this is my job. I enjoy doing my job, for the most part. And I don't have some idealistic view of what's going on here, right? And so this purist stuff, another person wrote this, and this person didn't get banned or anything, but they wrote this, a seminal video, Paul. I only disagree with one point, which is always a problem because I say don't do that, but it is you thinking that you can't change how people think. It was one of your videos, a few that you made on abortion for over 50 years. I felt strongly that I identified with a pro-choice stance with certain reservations and conflicts. You spoke about this issue from a pro-life stance, articulating the variables of recommunity at all degrees of enriching poverty. You spoke of all the complexities within our given system. My thinking from my heart about my pro-choice stance has greatly evolved since listening to you. Interestingly, too, from a man's perspective, thank you massively for that. Peace and gratitude to you, Paul, and your family and all. This is from a woman. That's why she said from a man's perspective. That's great, and I, like hearing that the videos have that effect, but I have no intention of that. I'm not trying to change people's minds. And I've said, you really can't change people's minds. And maybe in terms of this comment, what I would say, you can't change people's minds if they already don't want to change, right? I mean, this is how we all woke up. And if somebody really deep down wants to change their position on something or is open to new information on something, they will pull this information out of something, right? Of a video or a conversation or something. And so I am willing to provide that for people unknowingly. Like I might say something that you need to hear, but you're the one creating that. This is what happens with the heartfulness system when a preceptor would pick a reading and somebody listening to the reading, like there'd be 15, 20 people at group meditation, and the preceptor would pick a reading, and there'd be maybe 3 people in the room who thought the reading was just for them, that they were, asking this question and opening, themselves up to, praying for an answer or guidance, and they would hear something in the reading that would answer their question. And I think that happens quite a bit here on this YouTube channel. But not because I'm open to doing that. Like I know that people get that from me, and I know that I've gotten that from other people and in videos. I watched a YouTube video on the big event in 2001, and that changed my perspective of what happened. And the way I found it was I was in a site that didn't like what they called conspiracy theories, right? It was some online, I don't know what you would call it, some sort of a community. And the community didn't allow people sharing something, but someone posted a video, I watched it, and it made total sense to me. And that sort of opened up, all this stuff also to do with the Whispers of the Brighter World messages. There's people who read the Whispers of the Brighter World messages on things like obscurantism and prophecies and things, and they don't respond to them. Like it doesn't do anything for them. Other people read them, and it sets them on a journey of discovery and research and things like me. So I would say that my position, or what I said, the video didn't change this person. This person had misgivings about their pro-life position, their pro-choice position, and, was open to change and, maybe even on a etheric level, created that, right? Created the information that was pulled to them, and they found it in my video. But if they didn't find it here, they'd find it somewhere else. Because when people want to change and they're open to changing, then the information comes, right? It's just that most people are completely closed and locked into their position. But anyways, going back to the first comment, I'm pretty open about my motivation, and it's multi-layered. And there's enough information here that most people could figure out the answers to these questions themselves, right? But it's not my job to sort of win you over. I'm not trying to sell you something. I mean, I do have the merch, but I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm not like whatever. And I don't, I don't have to beg for your viewership or personally win you over. The quality of the video should do that. And you make your decision on whether you want to stay or not, and leave me out of it, right? Like I've said this before. Like that's why, this person's banned, because not that the questions were that horrible. It's just, leave me the F out of it. Like you make a decision. Because people lie, right? You can ask me a question about my motivation and I could lie to you, like, or whatever, or lie to myself about it. You got to figure it out. You have to figure out what you think my motivation is and what the value of these videos are and what the value of my work is, right? And, that's up to you. Like, that's up to the viewer. It's not up to me to decide for you, convince you that my work here, my videos are worth watching, right? I'm not selling my videos. The videos sell themselves, right? The quality of the videos sell themselves. You either like them or you don't like them. Or if you're trying to, like, catch me or something, I mean, that's like these kind of comments. Ha-ha! Look at the hypocrisy. You said this thing, and okay, whatever. Then leave, right? I don't, like it's just, heavy and complex, and, leave your psychological needs and your emotional stuff out of my comment section, right? Like, don't try to drag me into something. Like, I don't care. Like, okay, go. Like, you think I'm in it for the money, then go somewhere else. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. There's plenty of other options. Like, you choose something else. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting for the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.